Hey guys, this is Cliff. I didn't know how else to do this, so I thought I'd just try and show all of the results I have on my computer and videotape it. So let me try and just run right through this real quick. I had three different cameras. I had the USB microscope, I had the 2 megapixel camera, and then I had the Samsung Galaxy S6 that I was taking microscope pictures with. This is an image with the USB microscope before, and the USB microscope has a low and a high power, whatever the rating is. We know it's not what they say it is. This is on low setting without a filter of any kind. This is the same picture, as close as I could get it, with the piece of white paper covering the LEDs. Here's a couple different shots. And this is probably a 640 by 480 camera. That's what the pixels are telling me. You can see the quality of the image is better. You still can't make out any detail along the apex or anything like that. But it's better than that. This is another one. Again, here's the apex. The next 3 or 4 images are with the USB microscope on its high setting, held in my hand, and you can't really focus it when it's in your hand, even when you're pressing it right against the blade. But you can see that, and what this is it's a small Spyderco knife. It's got about a 0.8 millimeter bevel, or 80, what would that be? 80 hundredths of a millimeter, 800 microns from top to bottom, and it's halfway done because I just hit it with the belt sander. This is a 220 grit belt. It's very uniform in its grit, but it's also going to leave a nice toothy edge, as you can see along the bottom here, and that's what I wanted to see on the images. Not really great focus, pretty reflective and shiny. This is what I'd been working with up until getting the new microscope. You can see what you got to deal with. You got some tooth here, and another one probably a little bit better in focus, but that's the best resolution you're going to get. That's what this thing can do. Another couple failed attempts here, and some low, again, another low shot. So that's it. That's your high magnification with the USB microscope, and then your low magnification with the USB microscope. I also had the 1 millimeter test slide. This test slide is 1 millimeter across. It has 100 increment lines in it, so it's 10 microns between the fine lines. This is the microscope, the USB microscope on low. This is the USB microscope on high. That's the best it can do. And maybe this one here, and if you zoom in on it, it's nothing there that you can even see. These are the ones that really make me question everything I've done today. These were taken with the 2 megapixel camera. This is with a 20 magnification eyepiece and a 20 magnification objective. And what this 2 megapixel camera has is it has a large, almost a 1 inch by 1 inch across CCD receiver thing. And the more I'm reading about this is what it allows you to get higher resolution. I can magnify the heck out of another image, but you need the CCD receiver to have twice the resolution of the image that you're trying to take, something like that. And it's very calculus-based, lambda stuff. Here's another one. This is essentially a clean 800 power image shot with the 2 megapixel camera. I think it's more accurate than most of the pictures I have, just because of how jagged the bottom is. There's no pixelation, there's no rounding off or smoothing or blurring. This looks very jagged the way I would expect the image to be, and I'm not seeing that with images with the cell phone, even with its 16 megapixel camera, and I'll show you what that's all about here next. But this image is spectacular and leads me to believe that there might be more to the 2 megapixel camera now that I have the lighting involved. This is very close, but also lets you really get to see. This is what I was hoping to see with this kind of imagery. This is 2 megapixel camera with that 1 millimeter slide again. This is at about 80 power. This is at 200 power. This is at 400 power. And this is at 800 power. And it's 5, 10, 15, 20. It's 20 microns across. And this is not a huge data file. It's only 148 kilobytes, but it is shot at 2048 by 1536 pixels. And you can zoom in. There's not too much blurring until you get really right up in it. And then this is without any image correction stuff, which I'm worried about it taking some of the data away and changing the image. I can take this image here and go and darken it up, increase the contrast. I can go in here if I zoom in, and then I can sharpen it, and I know you're going to lose some of the real detail of what's going on behind that. So I'm trying not to do that kind of stuff. This is now the cell phone, and the first image will always have the eyepiece sort of thing. This is at 40 power, and then this is at 2 times zoom, which should be 80. The distance between the original 80 and this one is about the same, so it leads me to believe that it is about a true magnification. This would be, this is still a 40 power lens, 10 and 4, 10 power eyepiece, 4 power objective, and then 4 times zoom, and not spectacular, but 8 times zoom, so that would be essentially 320 magnification. This is a straight, this is the clean, straight 100 magnification image, 10 objective, 10 eyepiece, and then 2 zoom, 4 zoom, and 8 zoom. And some of these aren't the most perfect blurred, clarity on these, but I did the best I could. I was kind of shooting here from the hip like I usually do. Here's 200 power through the eyepiece. This is at 2 times the zoom, 4 times the zoom, and 8 times the zoom. And that's just a blank to let me know where the spacing is. This is the highest power I've got. I also do have a 20 power eyepiece I took some photos yesterday with, and I just didn't confuse the issue. I left it in the box today. These are all with the 10 power eyepiece. So this is a clean 400 power image being photographed with the S6 16 meg. It's putting out 5,312 pixels by 2,988 pixels. It's a 3 megabit data file. This is just the basic no zoom, but you can zoom in on this, and I think it's actually the same as when I use the digital zoom on the camera. I've compared them side by side, but just for the same, showing the same thing, here's twice the zoom, 4 times the zoom, and 8 times the zoom, and I think I cleaned that one up a little bit, possibly. No, there's the cleaned up version. That's just removing a little bit of the glare. Still working on the lighting issues. Now I'll get to the knife, okay? This is that same edge that we looked at before. This is the first image is not very good, but there's the new bevel that I ground in with the 220 belt. There's the original, and again, this is from top to bottom. It's less than 1 millimeter. Let's go ahead and zoom in on it, and you can see it's very glary. But even at this low resolution, you can see that there's some toothy going on here. There it is, toothy all along here. And this is just zooming in, still with the 40 power. Now, this is going to be 100 power. no zoom because of the circle, and then this is zoomed twice. And here's the interesting point, as this is way too much information to just put in a post, is if I take this is just a 100 power image, but because of the megapixel size of the thing, I can actually zoom in this image and I get quite a bit of information along the edge because the depth of field is better at the lower objective powers. This is a 10 power objective, so my depth of field allows me to still see the jaggedness and the real details of the knife. And the other thing is all these images are actually showing the same area. This one little piece that pops down, and there's a little area right over here to the side. You can tell it's kitty corner from this, and then over here there's a notch. There's this little bump that comes out right here, and this is the area that all the images are focused on. So if I go back one, here's the spot right here, and let me zoom in on it again so you can see what it looks like at low power but zoomed in, and what kind of, even it's a little blurry, it's not quite in focus. And then let's go up and go through some more. Some of these are a little fuzzy. This should be 200, and then I'll zoom it in, and you can see I've lost my depth of field. There's that bump section again. There's this strange little divot that's kind of in my final picture, and then this I think is going to be the highest magnification. Again, the depth of field is now just from here to here. And it's cool. You can see all the detail, and actually you can pick up some of the cool colors that we were commenting on earlier today. There's some, these can be brought out with contrasting and stuff, but the depth of field is such that now the blur is complete from here to here. The only spot that's in focus is right here on this image, and there's no indication really, except for maybe a shadow here, of any of the toothiness that we know is there. There's some over here. Let me just keep going, because the tooth is gone, and you're not even seeing it. I honestly think it's because of the depth of field. This little shadow right here is part of the features, but the depth of field is not picking them up as well as it was at lower resolution. And then here's a sequence I did at the highest resolution I could pull together. Same spot, another sequence, and then the focus stack at the very end. Boom, boom, and that's it. Boom, boom. This one's color corrected or darkened a little. So from here to here, they're not showing any of the jaggedness at all. And if I cycle back through, just back to even something like this one here, and I zoom in on that same area, there's that little bump, and you can even see the little hole. But all this jaggedness and all the details, the real stuff that we need to focus on when we're trying to sharpen and remove this sort of stuff, is all gone at that higher magnification. And I'll just leave this video with this because I know it's going crazy long already. 1 second, guys, because I gotta find them. Fail. Here they are right here. What do you make of this? Now this is that high magnification, but with the 2 megapixel camera. Essentially, that's 800 magnification. It should look all blurry and all the details should be gone, but somehow I've got super jaggedness along the bottom edge, and I believe this more than I believe the fact that I don't have jaggedness in the other ones. So that's what my next investigation, so to speak, is going to be on, is actually reproducing and getting more images that really show the jaggedness along the top of the edge. I hope this guys was helpful, and I'll see you on the forum.